So it is 2024 and you have decided this is the year that you are going to transform your physique. This is the year you're going to put everything you got into becoming a new person, into becoming the best version of yourself. But if you're anything like me, when you first got started and were getting into the gym, you had no idea really what you were doing, and it seemed to be very confusing. And if that's the case, this video is going to be perfect for you because I'm going to go over all the things I've learned over my year's worth of being in the gym and sort of the ups and downs and experiences I've had. So the first thing I would say is commit to yourself to really see it through. When I first got started in the gym back in like 2019, I was really sporadic with my workouts. I wasn't very consistent, and I think it was really because back then I didn't know how much the gym would actually change my life. I didn't know how much working out would really make a difference in terms of my health, my mindset, my energy, my relationships. So I was stuck in this situation where I was flipping back and forth, not staying consistent, and that led to inconsistent results, not surprisingly, right? So I want you to just take a moment and visualize this year you committing to seeing it through, right? This year you're going to commit to seeing it through. You're going to get in the best shape of your life and actually see that and commit to it. Because if you're just kind of taking this like, oh, I'm going to try my best, a New Year's resolution, that's not enough. You got to actually be serious about this. You got to commit and go all in. The second thing I want to talk about is don't overcomplicate this. There's so much online for you to watch, including this video right now that you're watching, right? There's so many videos and articles and so much advice from people on what to do. But I don't want you to overcomplicate this because at the end of the day, if you're going to spend hours and hours watching videos, right? That's hours you could be spending in the gym. And I literally, when I first was getting started, I was like watching videos and it's like, dude, you're literally spending all your time watching videos, reading articles and like trying to figure out what you need for the gym and what you should do. Just get into the gym. Just get into the gym and start working out and you'll learn. So in this scenario, when you're trying to work out and you're trying to improve your body and transform your physique, the best teacher is literally for you to get in there and to get experience. That's all you need to be focused on. Don't worry right now about, oh, what should I have for calories, or should I cut, or should I bulk, or what gear do I need and all this stuff. Just get into the gym and start lifting weights. Literally, that's all you need to do. Do not overcomplicate the process. And a lot of times this overcomplicating comes from the procrastination. And a lot of times this procrastination comes from the fear of getting out of your comfort zone. Okay, and this is a big problem that people have when they get into the gym or they're trying to work out or transform their physique, is they have these insecurities, right? It could just be like, you're embarrassed. Like when I first started going to the gym, I was kind of embarrassed, kind of self-conscious because I was kind of out of shape. I didn't really know anybody there. And you're just in a new environment where there's, your brain perceives it, I guess, as like there being different threats and like all these kind of things. And you don't know where you are in terms of the social circle. So a lot of times we procrastinate on these things because there's an underlying fear that you're going outside your comfort zone, right? And it can be completely irrational because it's not like anything's going to happen to you in the gym, right? It's just a gym. It's not like a big deal. Even if you have like a home gym. Now, of course, if you have a home gym, it's going to be a little bit different because you're at your home. But if you're someone like me who likes to work out in a public gym, or that's all you've got because you don't have the equipment for a home gym, you may run into these sort of insecurities or fears about being in a new environment. And that's totally normal. That's totally something that you shouldn't be like even more ashamed about or just feel weird about, because that's normal. And the way you overcome this is simple. You just actually push through it and you just go. Because when you're in your comfort zone and you're pushing out of that and you're trying to grow, that's where you run into these fears, right? And these fears really will hold us back. They can hold us back for months, for years. And so make sure you're actually pushing past that comfort zone and you keep a growth mindset and just think, you know what, right now I don't feel comfortable. I'm feeling, just embarrassed or self-conscious in the gym. I don't really know what I'm doing in terms of exercises. Yeah, maybe I look like an idiot. But at the end of the day, the only way for you to actually improve and get to where you want to go is to push past that fear that you have and to just keep pushing forward. And eventually you'll get to the point where you feel comfortable in that environment. If you're someone who really enjoys calisthenics, or you're someone who really enjoys yoga or some other type of exercise, don't feel like you can't do that because the gym is the only way. I chose the gym in the beginning and I started weightlifting because, for me, it makes me really get that feeling of like adrenaline. It makes me feel kind of powerful in a way, just because you're lifting so much weight. And I do believe it's really is the fastest way to transform your physique, just because the amount of weight that you can stimulate your body with and put on your body. So that's kind of the reason why I went down that road. I do enjoy other types of exercise, but I really wanted to get that sort of aesthetic physique where it's like you're lean, but you've also got a lot of muscle. And really, the fastest way to do that is just to get into the gym. So that's why I chose the gym and I chose weightlifting. But if you really hate weightlifting, don't do it because you're not going to be consistent enough to get in shape. If you want to get in shape, you can do it other ways, but it may take a little bit longer or maybe a little bit of a different journey. So that was my journey. I chose to go the way of weightlifting and going to the gym. That doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but I do believe that is like the fastest way if you want to get that lean aesthetic look. So now you may be in the position where you're actually in the gym or you're working out, doing some type of exercise, whatever that may be. But you need to actually have a schedule, okay? You need to have a real schedule. And if you're in the gym lifting weights, if you don't have a schedule every week, you're going to be so confused as to when you're going, what you're doing. If right now I didn't have a schedule and I just showed up at the gym when I felt like it and I just kind of did these random exercises when I felt like it, I would have not made anywhere near the progress that I made. I make really good progress because I'm consistent. I have a consistent schedule. I know roughly what times a day I'm going, and I have a consistent routine that I do, and so I know every day what I'm doing. If it was just, off the cuff like some of these people you see on social media or whatever, I wouldn't make any really of the progress I would make because I'd be also overthinking the process. Every time you have to think and go, oh, when am I going to the gym today? How long is it going to be? What am I going to do? That takes up a lot of mental energy. And so that's another reason why a lot of people don't end up staying consistent is because they don't have an actual schedule that's consistent. They don't know what days of the week they're going. So if you're going to the gym and you want to start going, think about what's your schedule? What can you fit in right now? Because if you, for example, are working a lot right now, maybe you can only fit in 1 or 2 days. Maybe you can only fit in 3 days, but that's fine because that's better than nothing. And if you're far away from the gym, maybe you can just drive 1 day there or 2 days there, if you don't have like a home gym. But something is always better than nothing. Actually, weightlifting and doing something this year is always going to be better than doing nothing. So if you're in the position right now where you're very hectic or you're very busy, if it's a priority, you will find the time. And I think a lot of us struggle with understanding just how important it is to actually get to that point where you're happy with the way that you look, you're happy with the way that you feel. And I think when you actually get to that point, you realize, wow, what have I been missing all this time? Because, everybody talks about all these things like in a vacuum, like your health, your relationships, like the money. It's all interconnected. It's not in a vacuum. It's all interconnected. And so when one thing is off, it affects everything else. So you could find a massive improvement just in terms of your relationships or just in terms of your job by going and getting in shape, by actually exercising. Because like I'm telling you, in my journey, that's how I really got started. And that's how everything changed for me, was by me actually going in and just getting started weightlifting. It's not anything complicated, but it's something that had such an effect on every area of my life that I would highly recommend anybody do it who isn't doing it right now. And if you, like I said, if you can't do weightlifting because maybe you don't have access to a gym or a home gym, do some form of exercise daily because you need to actually exercise and get that blood flow going into your brain, right? And actually allowing you to become the person that you're meant to be. Human beings never just sat around, throughout the whole day and didn't exercise. We ran miles and miles and miles every day. And so that's a big reason why our society has so many problems right now, is because we're in these situations, where people are just sitting around all day and not really exercising. And yeah, I know it's not easy, but it's totally worth it in the end. If you want a more detailed, in-depth sort of guide that can help you along your fitness journey, check the first link in the description because I got a free course that I created that's linked down there along with a community. You can just hop in there, go through the whole course and join the community of like-minded people. Don't rely on motivation because motivation is something that you can't rely on in the beginning, okay? When you're just getting started, you're going into the gym, you're trying to work out and lift those weights, you can't rely on motivation because you're gonna feel like shit. Honestly, when you first start exercising, you actually feel worse than you did before. Like when I first started getting into the gym and I started working out, I was like, dude, oh my God, I feel like shit every day because your energy is being sapped, your muscles are being broken down. But, within a week, 2 weeks, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm feeling a lot better. Every single day, I'm feeling a lot better. So you can't rely on motivation when you first get going because you're thinking in your mind, oh, well, I'm not motivated to go to the gym today. I don't feel motivated to go lift weights because it's hard. But the reality of the situation is you will feel motivated when you start seeing results. When you start seeing those results and you stop with the excuses, you will start feeling motivated. But until that time, you have to rely on discipline. Discipline is going to be what really keeps you going in the beginning. And discipline is basically just doing something when you don't feel like it, right? It's just going into the gym and lifting weights when I don't feel like it. Maybe today I don't want to go to the gym, but guess what? Too bad. I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to literally force my mind and my body to stand up and walk to that gym or drive to that gym and lift weights. Because once you get that positive feedback loop in your mind of the benefits of working out and the benefits of actually transforming your physique and seeing it change, that's when you really start to get that dopamine hit from going into the gym and starting to notice the difference. So you got to rely on discipline in the beginning. You cannot rely on motivation And if you rely on motivation in the beginning, don't complain when you don't see the results that you want to see, because you're just not going to take action. Motivation is something that comes and goes, and really it's something that you get after you start taking action. So you need to actually take the action first, and once you start to see results, you'll get the motivation. So that's my thoughts on it, and that's the way that I notice for myself, because there are so many days where even now, there's so many days where I don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't need to. I've built like so much muscle and stuff. Like, I don't need to go. But then I'm like, wait a minute though. I need to, because I need to maintain that discipline. I need to actually maintain that discipline in doing things when I don't feel like it. And so maintaining that discipline is going to be the key to your success. So the next thing to really focus on is just really thinking about, what are you putting inside of your body in terms of the food that you're eating right now? Because if you're going to just go around eating whatever you feel like and going into the gym, you will make progress. Okay, I'm not saying you won't. I'm not saying you can't eat pizza or anymore. You can't do this. But in general, you have to think about what you're putting in your body. Because if you're going to be eating a diet that is, full of carbohydrates and fats and processed foods, that is going to basically inflame your body. That is basically going to make it harder for you to build muscle and to lose fat. Now, there's a lot of people who can get away with short-term, eating in that way. But like I said, this isn't a vacuum. And so there's other areas of your life that this will affect if you're going to eat in a crappy way. If you're going to continue to eat McDonald's or Burger King, or you're going to continue to eat a lot of processed foods while you're lifting weights, you will see a difference, but you're not going to see it as fast. And it's still going to be negatively affecting other areas of your life, because you're still eating food that isn't healthy for you. So the way I like to think about this is, 80% of the time I'm going to eat healthy food. And when I say healthy food, I mean basically unprocessed things. Think about things like meat, fish, nuts, berries, vegetables, those kind of things. Those are unprocessed foods. Think about eating those 80% of the time. And then, here and there, go ahead and get like a dessert or get something that you want to get. That's what I do. I just 80% of the time, I just make sure that I'm eating what I need to eat in order to maintain my health. And then the other 20% of the time, it's like, whatever. Like, you don't need to be super perfect about everything. This is the other thing. It's like, so many people see, social media, everybody's highlight reel where it's like, oh, every single day I'm eating super healthy. I don't mess up. And it's like, well, that's unrealistic. And it kind of creates this unrealistic standard in your mind that you need to be, always on top of it, always perfect, always hitting the right workout. But that's never going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, because we're all human. So 80% of the time, try to eat what you need to eat in your daily life. Eat those unprocessed foods. Make sure you're getting a lot of protein, because that's going to really help you in making a big difference when you get into the gym. The rest of the time, though, it's just like, whatever, just do whatever you want to do. And speaking of social media, one of the things that could really affect you that I want to bring up is the comparison trap. Okay, the comparison trap is really something that can mess you up in your fitness journey, especially, I've noticed, really in all areas of life these days, because social media is so prevalent and everybody's showing their highlight reels of what's going on. And you're getting all these extreme outliers on social media that make you feel like your life isn't what it should be, or that you need to change. And one of the biggest problems with the comparison trap when it comes to fitness is setting unrealistic standards. Okay, and when I say unrealistic standards, I mean it makes you feel like you haven't made any progress. It makes you feel like you've been working out for so long and yet you aren't any healthier, which is completely bullshit, because you are. Anybody who's been working out for a significant amount of time and eating healthier has massively improved their lives, like beyond the point you even could imagine. And yet there's so much emphasis in this modern society on how you look, and on how, you need to be this super jacked, insane, shredded, six-pack abs. And it's like, dude, this is just so unrealistic. And so social media really creates this problem. And I just want you to be aware of it. For me, what I did, going throughout my journey was, I would watch people, I would see people online. But in general, I tried to stay away from social media. I try to keep social media off my phone. I've made another video about that, about me deleting social media and how I went about it. But I'm trying to keep social media away from me. The thing about social media, you have to realize, is it's almost all highlight reels. It's almost all the best. And you're not seeing the mistakes. You're not seeing the ups and downs that people are going through. And so, again, it creates this illusion in your mind of what reality is. But that's not really reality. It's a fake version of reality. And so that'll make you feel like you haven't made much progress in your fitness journey, or maybe, you'll be like, oh man, I have super bad genetics. I don't look like, my favorite fitness model on Instagram. And it's like, dude, just please don't do that. Just please don't get obsessed with comparing yourself to other people, because your body, your genetics, the way you're built is all unique to you. Okay. And it doesn't matter what you look like in comparison to other people. The only thing that matters is comparison to yourself. Okay. Don't think about, how do I look compared to this person on Instagram? Think about, how do I look compared to yesterday? How do I look compared to myself a year ago, 2 years ago? That's how you measure your progress. That's really the only way to measure your progress, because if anyone else tells you anything differently, oh, well, you got to compare to this person or that person, it's like, why? Why? How does that make any sense? This person not only has different genetics than I do, but they have different epigenetics, aka they grew up in a different environment with different circumstances. Why the heck would I compare myself to them? But it's something that we naturally do as human beings, so you can't really avoid it. And that's why I say you're better off a lot of times just deleting social media. It's one thing to create content, but like constantly consuming this content of all these other creators is like, dude, it can really mess up your mental health. So be aware of that. Your mental health, social comparison, be careful of that, because that will ruin your journey in a lot of respects. You will start to feel down about yourself and depressed and, oh, I'm not doing enough. And then that leads into more dangerous areas where you're thinking about, starting to take unnatural things to boost your performance. So don't fall down that rabbit hole, especially when it comes to guys and comparing. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Just understand that you are good enough as you are and as you're becoming. Okay? You are good enough as you are becoming and growing. That's all you can be, and you don't need to compare yourself to other people. A lot of people say life is about being balanced, life is about balanced. And while I agree with that in some sense, I would also say the more time you put into something and the more effort you put into something, the faster you're going to see those results. So for me, when I first got started, I decided, you know what, even though I'm working full time right now, I'm going all in on this. I am going to go 100% into this because this is what I want to do. I want to transform fast. And so I went into the gym and I was in there 6 days a week. I was in there 6 days a week, which is a lot. And I understand most of you, especially if you're starting out, I wouldn't recommend you do that because that's on the extreme side of things. But I'm kind of that personality where it's like, I got to go extreme, So I wouldn't recommend that for most people starting out. I think if you're going to go, maybe just try to do 4 days, 3 days is great. If you can do that, that is amazing. But the more you put in, the more you're going to get out and the faster you're going to get it out. So, if you're going to go 2 days a week, 1 day a week, just don't quit or get disappointed when you're not seeing the results, because if you're only putting in a couple days a week, you're not going to see the same results as someone who's putting in, double that or triple that. So that's okay if you can't, if that's what your approach is. Just understand and don't quit or feel really depressed because that's all you're putting in. Understand that your inputs equal your outputs. So how much time you're spending in the gym and how many times you're going to the gym, that's your inputs. And then your outputs is how you look at the end, or how you may, think you look, or how you feel. So just don't get disappointed. Don't quit if you're only going a few days or a couple days and that's all you can manage and you're not seeing fast progress. Okay. So again, if you want a more detailed guide into kind of how to get this achieved this year, check the first link in the description. I have the free course, free community that you can become a part of, and you can just go through that course and kind of get more in depth on what you need to do, fat loss, muscle gain, all of that. All right. So that's it. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.